Did you know that there's a Christmas cave in Minford, Ohio? Well, let's go check it out! It is time to start Christmas Travels. Hope you're here to watch Christmas Travels. Let's get going with Christmas Travels. Start the show! Whoa, whoa, ho, ho, ho! Well, we made it to the parking lot of the Christmas cave. The next thing to do is walk up this little hill to the entrance. Well, what do you know? It's a foodie truck. But you know me, I never have any money, so I won't be ordering from the truck tonight. And in case you were wondering, yes, there is a small admission to the cave. It's only $1. I saved my money for months and I just happen to have the right amount to get in. There's no turning back now. Into the cave we go! Boy, they weren't kidding when they called this a Christmas cave. It is really dark in here. And this place seems to be pretty big, which makes me wonder if there are bats in here, hiding out, waiting to scare us unsuspected visitors. Or is that unsuspecting visitors? Whatever. Well, if there are any bats in here, I sure hope they like Christmas and that they don't drop any guano on me. That stuff's hard to comb out of your hair. And come to think of it, I wonder if there are any squatches that live in this cave. You know, a lot of squatches do live in caves. That's right, they're called cave squatches. And if there are any cave squatches here, maybe they'll come out and sing some Christmas carols. If you come to the cave in person, they have these ginormous signs describing the scene that you're looking at. So come on out to the cave if you'd like to read them. Watch out now, I'm warning you. I feel a song coming on. It came upon the midnight clear, that glorious song of old, from angels bending near the earth to touch their harps of gold. Peace on the earth, goodwill to men, from heaven's all gracious King. The world in solemn stillness lay to hear the angels sing. Still through the cloven skies they come, with easeful wings unfurled, and still their heavenly music floats over all the weary world. Above its sad and lowly plains, we bend a hovering wing, and ever o'er its babel sounds the blessed angels sing. Singing sure wears me out. I'm gonna quit now. Wow, would you just look at all the polka dots all over the ceiling? That reminds me of something. Oh yeah, that's it. I must say that the camera simply does not show the size of this cave, the height of it, wideness of it, and it's not really as dark in here as it seems. It's just that my camera isn't the greatest in the world, you see. I actually traded an old pair of shoes with a hobo for this camera. He said he couldn't wear a camera on his feet, and so he'd rather have shoes. That hobo told me a lot of things you just wouldn't believe. You know, it is nice and airy in here. It's quite comfortable in the temperature region, too. It's nice to just walk around in a big airy cave with a bunch of Christmas trees filled with lights and other decorations and sceneries. And I'm just waiting for Squatchy Claus to feed me some cookies at the end. You know a guy called Squatchy Claus. He's a big guy with hair on his jaws. He's got a fur coat and a hat that's fuzzy, but he's fuzzy all over because he's a Squatch. Not only was Mary pregnant with a special baby, but so was her cousin Elizabeth. About 6 months or so ahead of Mary, she gave birth to a guy who would come to be known as John the Baptist. If anybody watching this knows what this scene is, please leave a comment below. You know what would be great? You know what would be awesome? Is if Squatchy Claus is at the end of the cave waiting to give out presents. Man, I wish I had a toe jam sandwich to give him. I heard that's his favorite. This scene is titled The Long Journey. From Nazareth to Bethlehem, this is a 90-mile trip, and on foot it would take probably between 4 and 7 days. Even with a donkey. This next scene is titled The Unavailable Inn. Well, naturally all the lodging places would be probably pretty full up, since everybody had to travel for this census. But I suppose if God really wanted Jesus to be born in one of those rooms, it would have happened. But as it was, he was born in a stable, which might have even been a cave. At any rate, it makes for a much better story. And besides, it would have been warm and cozy in there. Yeah, maybe the animals were smelly, but the people were probably just as smelly. I'm talking about the other travelers, not Mary and Joseph. Lighten up, y'all, it's a joke. Yar, yar, yar. Whoa, look at those gnarly lights. It somehow reminds me of a wobbly jellyfish. So finally, the birth takes place in the stable. Here lies the King of Kings. Does anybody come to see him? Does anybody bring him presents? The only ones who are actually looking for his coming and looking for his sign were the wise men, the Magi from the east. They saw the star, but they couldn't be there that night. They had to travel too far. In fact, it took them 2 years before they saw Jesus. However, there was a great multitude of angels, and they announced the arrival of the Lord to the shepherds, and they were the witnesses of his birth that night. After he was born, not while he was being born. Come on, people.
Joy to the
So the wise men brought gifts to the Messiah that night and sort of started a tradition of giving presents. Does your family have any traditions that are kind of unique? Me and Mr. Big Footy Squatch hide our presents from each other. Even though he lives in a palatial mansion, we go out in the woods and we hide our presents for each other. And then we have to look for them. And then after we find our presents for each other, we set up the old targets and we throw mud pies at them. Whoever hits the most targets gets to eat a real mud pie. But, I guess it's not for everyone. This is some pretty gnarly artwork on the cave walls. I wonder if some Sasquatches drew this. Or maybe it was done by an old hermit, or a young hermit, or hermit's hermits. At any rate, I just love the way it lays there and just glows like a lightning bug. Lots of blue angels all over the place, lighting up the walls. Well, the wise men finally made it to Jerusalem and they stopped in to see King Herod. I don't know, but maybe they thought that the Messiah would be living at the king's palace. But at the very least, they must have expected that he knew about his arrival. Being the king and all. But Herod was no help to them, so they just kept on passing through and went on into Nazareth. So they did eventually find him, and by this time, he was about 2 years of age. And this is when they bestowed their gifts of frankincense, gold, and myrrh upon him. When the wise men were ready to return home, they were warned by an angel not to go back the same way they came in. Basically, there's going to be trouble with Herod. They snuck out a different way to avoid that guy. What Herod was getting ready to do is another story. So let's not talk about him anymore. He's worse than the Grinch ever thought of being.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. The tidings we bring to you and your kin. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Now bring us some figgy pudding.
What?
Now bring us some figgy pudding. Now bring us some figgy pudding and bring it out here.
What's figgy pudding?
The tidings we bring to you and your kin. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. For we all like figgy pudding. For we all like figgy pudding. For we all like figgy pudding. So bring it out here.
You're very demanding, and I don't have any pudding.
To you and your king.
Squatchy Claus will take care of you.
To you and your kin, we wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. The tidings we bring to you and your kin. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
You say, give us pudding or we won't leave and Merry Christmas. Make up your mind. You're crazy people. I don't know what pudding has to do with Christmas, but let's remember the true meaning of Christmas. Thanks for watching Christmas Travels! Remember to like and subscribe, and Squatchy Claus may come to your cave and leave you something spectacular and awesome!